So from Malaysia to Leitrim, we're now going to head to Galway, which in 2018, Elaine, was designated the region of gastronomy in the whole of Europe. So I think we've put out some of our Leitrim food credentials. We've got a lot to share as well, but let's look at it from a West of Ireland perspective. You're welcome, Elaine. Thanks a million for joining us, and maybe tell us a little bit about the regional gastronomy and some of the facilities, some of the exciting stuff you're doing coming down the road with BIA Innovator Campus.
Well, now that we're finally headed into 2021, 2018 seems like a decade ago, but look, time moves on, it waits for no one. So it's been a busy few years, and there's a lot happening in the West of Ireland, in Galway particularly. It's been a really tough year for producers and the hospitality in Galway. And look, just listening to Sham there, it's that energy that really makes the community resilient. And I have to say that definitely from producers I've met and the hospitality in Galway, they're very resilient. They work hard, they have always pivoted no matter the challenge. And I suppose it is just such a disappointment to see the challenges that they're facing at the minute. But anyway, in 2018, I suppose Galway celebrated the European Region of Gastronomy as a designation. It was a European award. And I suppose the focus of that year was very much around, I suppose, celebrating our food culture. I think sometimes we forget where we're coming from, and it quite often informs where we're going. And I suppose it gave us a chance to stand back and look at the West of Ireland, look at the landscape. I mean, there was over 12,000 farms in Galway, all real small holding that supported, many a family over the years. And I suppose the West of Ireland, struggled through not the best of land either. And I suppose even throughout the city, I mean, you have the Salmon Weir Bridge, you have, different areas of the city that, took in the fish. There was the butter market, it was ingrained in our fabric. And I suppose as we've evolved into modern day Galway, we have a lot more strings to our bow. We've such a multicultural community, a diverse population, a really young population, a vibrant city full of young people. And I suppose that has added, such an extra, I suppose, layer to Galway's culture and the quality of it. So 2018, I suppose we got the European award, and it was hard fought from, every member of the community, because I suppose Galway started with a market in the city, and it took over 25 years to build that reputation. And it was like Sham, it was the work of people that had a passion for their place, and passion for what they were doing individually, and what they could bring to the food culture. So look, 2018 was very much about, I suppose, celebrating that with the public, making them more aware and appreciate their local food. And I suppose we marketed that mostly on a regional basis, but also nationally and at a European level to draw attention to Galway. And I suppose what it did as regards a long-term project is that it really, I suppose, highlighted, that we had no real plan for the future, no real strategy. From engaging with all the different producers, chefs, hotels, restaurants throughout the year, you could see a lot of, I suppose, gaps emerging for their next stage of growth. You could also see challenges left, right and centre with talent for the industry being kind of not focused on, or not enough chefs coming into the pipeline. I suppose the role not being as attractive as it should be for the, I suppose, opportunities that you get. The opportunity to travel, work across the world, have your own business, be independent. There's a lot of benefits, as Sham was talking about, in the culinary world, and it's so creative as well. And I suppose I would have sat in an awful lot of GMIT's kind of, they did kind of what I would call Dragon's Den style pitches, where students would pitch their product, they'd market it, they would package it, the whole piece of work would be done. And I could just see how the talent was able to pivot from whatever challenge was set, and how, I suppose, there wasn't enough of a pipeline for people to develop and grow within the industry, So look, the BIA Innovator Campus was born. I know you've been heavily involved, Orla, and quite central to its strategic direction. But the BIA Innovator Campus really is the answer to, I suppose, all those needs that we talk about, whether it was talent development and the pipeline to learn. I suppose, the opportunity for small producers to grow. So if you think of, I know I saw there was that Q&A question around, you know, is it a pipeline dream to start my own kitchen? You know, everyone has to start somewhere, and your kitchen isn't a bad place to start. But I suppose as businesses kind of got off the ground, got their HSE registered kitchen or whatever they've done, you know, went to local markets, got stockists in a local store or cafe, and they want to go to the next stage. They were having huge problems, you know, because you had to invest such a huge amount of money to be compliant, and to reach the standards that you needed to reach. So that has been quite a challenge for most, that you at a very early stage of your business, you're making a huge investment, and your business might not come to fruition, or you might take a different direction with it. So look, actually, you're seeing some of my slides up here now, but it's just Ireland doesn't have enough food incubators, so space where you can come and create your product, get the support that you need, whether it's the actual recipe development, whether it's making your product compliant, ready to go on a shelf in a local supermarket, to market it, to understand what it's costing to produce, all the different aspects of running a really good food business, and telling your story. And I suppose there is a lot of supports out there from all the different agencies. So what BIA Innovator will do is pull all those supports to one location, so that you can come and I suppose know where to find out everything quite quickly, and it will shortcut, I suppose, all the searching and wondering, and, you know, how do I do this and how do I do that? So we're going to work quite closely with all the different agencies, particularly starting with the local enterprise office, because it's often the place that people start when setting up their own food business. But what we will bring to the table, I suppose, is the food knowledge, and the understanding of the difficulties that you can have in running a food business, which are so different to running any other type of business. So this is just a quick picture of the new campus that's under construction. So it'll be open this year. So you'll see just a building there at the front. That's our BIA OLAS. So it's our Learning and Development Centre. Also, BIA BLOS is going to be in there, Taste of the Food of the West of Ireland. And just to the back of that there, you'll see kind of a lower building. And that's going to be our co-working kitchens. So that's a space where you can come and rent for a day or a half day. And there's a meat unit, a dairy unit, a seafood unit, and a general purpose unit with all the equipment you'll need. So you don't have to invest in that. And you can come and produce once a week, for a couple of days a month, whatever, I suppose, suits your product and your business. And you kind of become a member of the community and the campus, and you'll be able to bounce off others that are also involved, you know. And you'll see just down there at the back of the site then 2 different buildings. So the one on the left is, there's 9 small starter units. So when you finally, I suppose, are producing maybe a pallet of stock, and you've got your customers, your customers started with, and you have a pipeline of product, you can actually have your own door with your own key. And in that, then you'll share kind of communal facilities like meeting room, staff room, and, you know, you'll be part of the neighbourhood with 9 others or 8 others who are running their own business as well. And I suppose everyone going through the same challenges. So you're not at home alone in trying to face what's ahead of you. And then just the very back, you'll see 3 canopies, and that's our larger growth units. So they're 240 square meters. And I suppose when you progress on from the co-working kitchen into the smaller unit, then you'll grow into the larger unit, and you could potentially have up to 25, 30 staff in there. And you can really grow your business. So you can go from an idea in BIA OLAS, learning and development, right through to owning a business with 20, 30 staff without making any capital investment, and also having, I suppose, the supports on site that you need. So we have a buyer showcase room, we have an auditorium for demos and presentations where you can, I suppose, do your TV3 videos, or you know, your blogs or vox pops or whatever modern way of communication you'd like to use, and you have all the supports there. So this is just a kind of a diagram to help you understand, I suppose, the supports, and I suppose how do you find where is right for you. So you'll see there the co-working kitchens, the 4 of them: meat, general, dairy, and seafood. And I suppose you pay every time you use it, and you become kind of a regular user. We have, you know, invested in all the appliances, and they're all commercial grade, and it's a dedicated unit there. And we have, we're going to have 2 technologists. We've 1 on board at the minute. And I suppose our innovation specialists as well will lead that team. So there's a great deal of support whether it's creating a label, trying to get your yogurt to set, or whatever challenge you may have. And to this slide there then, oh yeah, just go back a second, Sammy, just back one, yeah, thanks. You'll see then the starter units, there's 9 of them. So again, 60 square meters, a nice size unit. You have your own key, your own door. It's resin floors, food grade paneling, all the expensive items that we're pre-investing in to support the industry. And then you can, I suppose, apply and get your own equipment in and set it up whatever way you like. And then 3 growth units then at the end, just bigger. And I suppose that just help you expand your business. So by the time you, I suppose, grow out of the BIA Innovator Campus, at that point you invest when you know you have a pipeline of customers, you're producing a good amount of product, and you're comfortable in your space, and you're happy because you've had support as you grow, which we kind of feel at the minute, depending on your experience or where you're based, you mightn't have access, and it's quite a lonely world as a producer on your own. So we really feel that the community aspect of this is going to be really, really strong as well. So do you want to go to the next slide, Sonia? Yeah, so our ambition really is that within 3 years we'll create 360 jobs within the wider food industry, support 40 businesses, increase the payroll of the region up to 11 million, and we'll have 2,400 entrepreneurs and learners passing through our business. So whether you just have an idea and you just want somewhere to learn, maybe do a course, maybe get some advice, some mentoring, and help that idea grow into a seed, and further, learn to produce maybe at the weekends or when your days off and you're not working. You can test the water, and gradually you don't have to just jump in. And we're there to help that process and help people along. So I suppose this is the legacy of the European Region of Gastronomy. This is how we help producers to grow, chefs to grow. We keep talent within the industry because it's so critical. It's such a creative space, the food industry. And I suppose we don't want to lose that. And you can see actually at the minute the amount of pivoting that's going on. I mean, Gather Restaurant in Tuam, running, Aoife and Siobhan running a fabulous business. Again, started takeaway, found it difficult. Next thing, they've opened up Albert Lifestyle and Grocery, and they're really flying it. They do their takeaway now kind of on occasions and at the weekend, but excellent product. And they are also making huge use out of the kitchen that's there, and also supporting all the food producers around them, like the Friendly Farmer, the Galway Goat Farm, their cheese. These are all producers that would have relied on the hospitality trade for their product. And it's just they've no way to market at the minute. So in all the takeaway dishes, they use all local products, and it's just fabulous to see. So the talent is there and the creativity is there. It's just how people decide how they want to apply it to suit their lifestyle, their needs, and I think also to branch out. So it's exciting, and we're not built yet. And I suppose we need this facility yesterday, so we can't wait to have it finished. So we're looking forward to construction reopening and getting on with this project.
Fantastic, Elaine. And it's interesting because we have a lot of people from the west of Ireland, and a lot of people, I suppose, that are thinking about starting on that journey. And back to our question earlier, is it a pipe dream to have, to think of owning my own food business? But I think what you're doing is putting in the building blocks that makes it very easy to go step by step. And that's what Sinead had talked about earlier, starting with the 16 loaves a day, 4 tins, and
yeah, minimizing risk as well. So you're
minimizing risk, yes,
small chunks at a time, one step at a time, get the right support, the right knowledge, so that you're not operating blind, and you're kind of, I suppose, made aware of the challenges of each of the steps. And I think communities are often, bouncing ideas off different people is so critical. Same here, even hearing different people's stories, like it kind of makes you think, and I suppose my background would have been in sales, but I suppose no matter what I was trying to do, was often information you got off fellow salespeople that helped you progress and get listings, and I suppose get your product into Dunnes or Tesco, or you figured out how to approach things better from fellow salespeople. And it's the same here when you have fellow producers or chefs and people with ideas. It's amazing what you learn to move on to the next step.
Yeah. A question here, Elaine, is COVID going to impact the co-working element of the campus? Good question.
Definitely, yes. COVID is definitely going to impact everything for us. It will. The co-working, I suppose, there's 4 units. 3 of them will be individually booked, so they're dedicated meat unit, dedicated seafood, dedicated dairy. Yeah, very much from, I suppose, people in and out. Definitely, it'll be quite difficult to manage. Cleaning processes, changeovers. It's going to be a total change, but I believe we're still set up to achieve what we need to achieve, and it's the same, I suppose, challenges that a lot of people face in their kitchens now at the minute. Do you know what I mean? You're trying to manage staff, manage the numbers in and out. But we will have to have a very tight control anyway, because I suppose our units will be, the meat unit will be registered 853 unit, the HSE regulations, records. I suppose we want a really high standard of operation. So whether it's an inspection by a county vet or an inspection by an EHO, that it's seen as a centre of excellence and of operational excellence. So we'll be aiming to be best in class. Huge challenge.
Yeah. Another question, Elaine, in the BIA Innovator Campus, will they help you bring a product to market?
Yes.
That's a great question.
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, we will do our level best to assist. So again,
what's the plan? How will you do that?
Well, so we're going to be linked in with all the agencies that are currently offering supports, but I suppose where we intend to stand out really is that we will help you step by step, because you can't just apply one approach to all. Different products, different markets, different ideas, different stages. Everyone is on their own journey path, and I suppose it's stepping stones. So it'll be very much like that you come in, get assessed, where's your idea at, where are your gaps, where's your strengths, your weaknesses, where's the opportunity, are you seeing all the opportunity? And then step by step to, an brand idea to work up the brand and marketing concept, the commercial idea, test that in the kitchen. What is the shelf life of your product? What is the scope for it? How far can it go?
So I think for the first time ever, all that knowledge is going to be in one place, because right now, if you're setting up, you have to go to, Board BIA for some information and Teagasc for something else, or, St. Angela's would have been there or whatever. But I think you're going to bring a lot of that into one
commercial marketing, the food technology piece. So it's often quite difficult to access food technologists. So anyone signed up with the co-working kitchen will get discounted access to the technologist, or they can buy a bundle where they get a certain amount of hours per month alongside their usage. So if it's to help with a label, or this product tastes great, but when I do bigger batches, it tastes awful, or it doesn't meet the shelf life requirement, or I have issues. I suppose they're there to just untangle those issues and help you get on to the next step. And I suppose mark out that plan, what are my steps and how long is this going to take realistically?
Another question, a comment, love this, everybody's on their own journey. And that's so evident from Jenny's and Sham, and, the individual approach, well done on that. It's the right commitment, definitely. And then somebody else, me again, will they help with funding for a new business? Now, that's a good question.
Yes, we
get out the checkbook, Elaine. Yeah.
No, we will. Yes. I suppose there's different aspects to funding, everything from, I suppose, the leader program at the minute funds feasibilities, training and development. There's capital funding there for equipment, fit out. The local enterprise office then provides a huge amount of support, everything and anything, to be honest, from mentors, you're trading online to get your website set up. They also do funding as well for capital and staff. Yeah. So it's trying to navigate all that I think confuses people sometimes. And between ourselves and the local enterprise office and Galway Rural Development or leader, whatever your leader representative is, we'll assist. Yeah.
The local enterprise office is one of the founders, so they're very much invested in helping the entrepreneurs that come. And you'll help them with a business plan and work out what funding they need. And then, the agencies are there to support, whether it be Enterprise Ireland or whatever. So it's great. Thanks, Sonia, for ticking these off. It's great. So will you be employing your own panel of experts in-house? And, or is it referring to the various agencies? It's a bit of both, isn't it?
A bit of both, a mix. I mean, at present we have a staff of 3, which is growing, and we have a huge background. So Colin Foley is our newly arrived food technologist, great experience across, we'll say, seafood, charcuterie, a mix, food and beverage in a general sense, you know what I mean? Also a chefing background. And then he has access to the wider Teagasc team, who have there's everything and anything from gluten-free to packaging specialists. I suppose they have a site in Cork, Moore Park, dedicated around dairy mostly. Their Ashtown facility, I mean, there's all sorts of experts in that facility, and scale up pilot equipment as well. So if you expand quite quickly through our pathway, they have huge equipment for scaling up on a bigger scale altogether. But even on packaging expertise, something like that, it's great to have dedicated specialists. So that's just the technology side. And then I suppose myself and Sarah have a really strong background in national accounts, trading, negotiation, all the commercial side, and marketing as well. And again, we have wider teams with Leo as well, and mentors. So no, look, whatever is required, we'll be aiming to provide everything that's required.
Great. The questions are coming in here. So any plans to build BIA Innovator in other regions of the country? And that, I'm going to just mention something first before that. The mothership of food incubators is the Food Hub in Drumshanbo. Let there be no doubt about that. And the Food Hub has helped you greatly, I suppose, in setting up. And the Food Hub will be tapping into the food technologists and all the business wraparound supports, Elaine, that you have. So maybe just to share that, yeah?
Yeah, so I suppose since we started, the Food Hub Drumshanbo have been our guiding light in how to do things right and what mistakes not to make again. So Fergal has been just inundated with queries and questions about different dynamics, I suppose, with operating a food hub. And I suppose we see the different food hubs as our partners going forward. I mean, if Fergal is on to phase 2 of Drumshanbo, and look, it's going, and I don't know if we'll ever be able to keep up, but we'll try.
And actually, on a previous European project, Momentum mapped all the food incubators in Ireland. So I have a map and I list. So I'll add that to the materials that we send out afterwards. There are quite a few, actually. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we have a food incubator, food campus such as this within about 60-minute radius or 60-kilometre radius that everybody can access. They won't always have the technical supports that BIA will have. BIA will have those and offer them to the other incubators. So it's great. So Dorothy Bird, welcome from LYIT, Dorothy. The department, and this is something, Elaine, you've been working with GMIT on. Department of Tourism, LYIT, is applying to Springboard for funding for courses in food, enterprise and innovation. So it would be a great match for some of yourselves and the entrepreneurs. So Springboard is a great way to, I suppose, train and get some money at the same time, I suppose, or to be supported to train, Elaine. So you're working hard on coming up with something like that, aren't you?
Yeah, we're working with GMIT on a Springboard project as well. So I don't have the full details yet, but the submission is going in quite soon, actually. Yeah. No, there'll be lots of supports and I suppose lots of things to learn. I suppose it will, like, Ireland is a really small country, so it's important that everyone links up. You know what I mean? There are incubators of different styles and types around the country, and everyone has, I suppose, they're servicing different needs. But even in Galway, like, I'd love to see that it proliferates more the wider county a bit as well. I mean, a big challenge that seems at times very simple is even just 3-phase power. In rural Galway, it's not available, and if you're trying to run your food business, it's quite tough to not have the power support you need, when you're producing.
Brilliant. Okay, two more questions. When do you expect to be open? And it's great to know that these sports are in place and an exciting venture, but when? Yes, construction is closed. It's a $5
million question. So we're closed now for 13 weeks, the construction site. So I'm hoping we won't go beyond September, but we won't really know until we get back on site.
I would think hopefully by the end of the year. A lot of the hard work has been done in terms of groundworks, and so hopefully by the end of the year.
We're up in the air as regards the building, but a good bit of work to do. And look, this is the time where the weather clears up and you can get construction done. So you're hoping that we'll get that fast.
But hopefully things keep going. Yeah, hopefully by April. Martha had her hand up, and I haven't forgotten you, Martha. So Elaine, can anyone access BIA Innovator even if they don't rent a unit for support?
Oh, definitely. Yes. Yeah. Everyone can access it. It's
perfect
for everyone. Yeah.
So the website is biainnovatorcampus.ie. There's loads of information there. There's expressions of interest. It's fairly good. And Elaine, your contact details are there. And we'll be sharing your presentation. You have a broader presentation that we haven't used all of it now, but we'll share all that with everybody afterwards. Thank you so much. You were very busy answering questions, Elaine.
No, and look, if anyone feel free to get in touch and, you know, spread the word. I suppose we are up to our tonsils in concrete and steel at the minute, but we are making our plans to open. And look, you know, I know this, we would love to have been open now when everyone kind of needs even the ghost kitchen operation where you can deliver. But you just hope some positive things come from COVID. I definitely think the delivery supply chains have improved phenomenally, that you can get something now delivered within, you know, 24 hours, where it used to take 4 days prior to this. So, you know, there are.
And I'm going to squeeze in one more question, Elaine, because Elaine, is it possible to start on a product before the centre has been built with BIA Innovator's help? Great question.
Yes, you can. I suppose our challenge at the minute is access to facilities, really, for if there's product kitchen development required. We do wider Teagasc facilities access, but it's quite limited. Just to,
but you have Colm on board, so he would be.
We do an awful lot of the scoping and the background work, planning part, the mentorship. Yeah, definitely.
Elaine, thank you so much. You've earned your goodie pack this afternoon.
That is goodie pack.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, brilliant.